Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome to Sunday and our regularly scheduled Sunday activity, which is our Sunday night live stream. I am your host, William. Co-host is Brad. How's everybody doing?
How's it going, guys?
Another hot day. Didn't quite reach 110 degrees today, but like I said, my body is numb to it at this point because it came a lot early. Not much happened today. I mean, watched some wrestling, watched some basketball. That's about it. I think the Sunday night show, our Saturday night show, gets everything out of our system. I got the notification that we reached 500 from the official YouTube account, though, which was hilarious because
we're over almost like 170 past that now, too.
Yeah. Well, we reached 500. We reached 600 within the same broadcast that we reached 500. Yeah. So those notifications are probably going to be a little bit behind. We are currently at 668, which is a 246 subscriber increase from when we started Godzilla Minus One yesterday. We started Godzilla Minus One with a 442. We ended it somewhere near 620, and we are currently at 668. Who knows? Could we get to 1,000 before Comic-Con? Still haven't gotten a little application link lighting up for me to be able to take super chats and memberships, but I think that's only a matter of time. And they said it could take anywhere up to a month, but like I said, until then, I got the Streamlabs link working again. So if you would like to contribute to the show, some of you have already, the Send William to San Diego in Style show. Not only, like I said, so that I'm not eating bologna and mayonnaise, I can actually maybe have a burger or so, or maybe some fish since I'm down in the seafood capital of Southern California. But I'm going to actually, like I said, I'm hiring on Vince to do a lot of production stuff. So it's not as ghetto as it was last year, where I basically took a lot of pictures but didn't really do a lot of high-end streaming. But we're going to do that. Like I said, we're going to be doing live streams, recorded stuff, interviews, and then, like I said, I'm going to take you on a tour of on the ground, for as much as I can and get you guys as close as I can. No topic tonight, but we do have a band list because you hooligans have necessitated that there be one. Up to and including the band from discussion list, 90s Batman and X-Men cartoons, Pineapple on Anything because it's disgusting. There are no such
great
things.
Great burger jokes there because they're always great.
Because the franchise is a complete waste of oxygen. Bane and Venom, but I'm also going to add one to this line. We're adding Doomsday to this line. Doomsday probably should have been the first one before before banning Venom. Actually, it was more of a justification for Doomsday to be banned from discussion than the other two combined. So the next revision of the ban list will include Doomsday and the overuse of Doomsday, and it's time to move up from Doomsday.
There's no way he's going to be able to do that, by the way, with the BVS and Superman Lois season 4. I'm just saying.
Once again, even if you could have ever made the argument that the use of the character was a good thing, like I said, you have 80 years of far superior villains to use, and we overuse the same old fucking tired one over and over again. Why wouldn't James Gunn do it? I mean, for a fourth of the time, why wouldn't the next 10 people who control DC just twice? I mean, it was twice too many. And not only twice, every platform that he's been used on, it's been overused. I mean, let's come up with something new. Brad's boneheaded Mad Max.
That's awesome, totally 100% verified Mad Max.
If it's
that is
the worst thing that could happen,
what's going to be happening with the
franchise. Worst thing that could happen to George Miller at this point, at the crossroads that him and his franchise are in,
is to not use this theory.
Is to use this theory and piss off what remaining fans you have left in this franchise.
Yeah, I agree.
James Gunn's DCU, I've explained to it. I'm just, I'm going to let you all be excited about it. I'm not going to hate on it, but I'm just not excited, especially about the Superman aspect of it, because like I said, I'm getting that JLI feeling. And usually when I get that JLI feeling, my hands usually form the closing of the comic book and tossing it in the quarter bin feeling. However, like I said, whatever I need to do to get to Lanterns, I'll fake it. The Snyderverse, because once again, I enjoy talking about Zack Snyder stuff, but it is a public forum, and like I said, I don't like opening the trash can and letting these shitheads come take aim at us. I don't have the energy right now to fuck with those guys, the Move On crowd, all those guys. I would just assume you stayed away from the site. I don't need viewers that much, and like I said, that conversation is like shit on the grass. It draws flies. And found footage films, which, because like I said, I never understood why this became a popular thing. It's like you're submitting yourself to burglary is what that is. You're literally doing more work than the people you're paying to do the work. So found footage, all these are on the ban list, but of course, at any given time, I got enough to go onto another page. Soon it won't just be the band list. It'll be the band slideshow. But yeah, and so as long as we don't violate the rules, get the chat.
So Batman v Superman, what do you think of that ending?
I didn't like it. Like I told you, you guys know what I think of Batman versus Superman.
Also that cliffhanger for Superman Lois season 4. What do you think of that?
It's what am I to expect from the CW though? Even their best show. What am I to expect from a channel that
I just find it so like I don't know how you could even maintain like that as a ban topic when it's like those without banning that movie.
It's not my fault that it's overused. It's not my fault that it's overused. It's not my fault.
How are you going to talk about the movie, and how are you going to talk about the upcoming fourth season?
I don't talk about Superman and Lois. You talk about Superman and Lois. I've done all my talking about BVS. I mean BVS has been around. 8 years. I don't know what more to say about BVS. I still love the movie, but that is the one thing about the movie that I wish would be undone. It's just like I said, it would be different if you were talking about a brand new character that had only been around for 10 years. We're talking about Superman and characters like Batman and Spider-Man. And look how we've wasted the rogues gallery of those characters and the existence that they've been on a big screen. If you actually understand the rogues gallery and the surrounding characters, it's shameful what's been wasted, especially with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably the worst. But with Batman has a rogues gallery that puts most entire franchises to shame. And what have we gone? Where have we gone? We've gone back to the same tired shit on 3 different decades, actually, which is, I mean, literally, I would expect that if it were like kids in school writing the stories for these things, but it's not. It's 2024. Wake up. All right, let's get on to something serious. Next one.
Well, this is definitely not serious, but he leaves
That's
it every
no,
night.
I don't even
the
know why you
comments.
brought the fucking best up.
That's going
Hello,
to Droga.
Jordan.
That's going to Vince. So your girlfriend. Yeah, for a second there, we were sitting at 666 subscribers, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I kept that out
please,
because I was like,
please,
Satan.
please, somebody get us one more of that. We're
Of course, Ruth.
few above
Ruth,
that.
as soon as she
Yeah,
saw
she
that,
had
she
fun with
went
that.
crazy.
Yeah, she had
She's
fun
like,
with that.
I'm gonna do a sacrifice in Scotland.
It's like she's really doing like probably like a seance right when she saw that.
Yeah, she probably sacrificed one of the people hidden in her basement.
Yeah, how's it going? Hal Jordan 2014. Sci-Fi Center with added burp. Okay. Not sure what that's about. Okay.
What the hell? What was?
Yeah, Sci-Fi Center with added. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe
How's it
he's
going? Larry.
How you doing, Midnight?
Miracos Nostra. Let's see.
Oh, the tip link is back up if you guys want to leave tips, and it's should be tied to the top of the chat.
Vince also it last updated the stats of the 4th. I'm thinking some time coming this week, maybe.
Okay, cool.
How's it going, Aaron? Yeah. Chappie. Right, what's the deal with Acolyte being hate? You mean the most hate? I mean,
I haven't seen that. I've seen people. I've seen it being highly praised in some areas. I don't pay attention to Star Wars fans because I just don't when it comes to it's what you're gonna have to pay attention to is where the numbers are as far as later on, like, okay, after the first 2 episodes, does it hold its audience? That's one thing if you're Disney, if you want to take a look at that. But as far as what Star Wars fans are saying right now, it's sad that you pretty much have to ignore it because they were hating it no matter what. It's just like I said, and I hope Star Wars doesn't have to go through what old Trek fan did, which is basically feeding on itself and destroying, its own franchise, to understand that it does you no good to lay in the bushes and wait for the newest thing to come out just to pounce on it. So I want to see what the numbers are afterward. But I've a lot of people are watching it. I've heard mixed things about it, but more good than bad. There are some legitimate issues with Acolyte, to be honest with you. The dialogue is cheesy as fuck. The story could move a little bit faster, especially that first episode. But once it starts rolling, I haven't had too much of an issue with it. I mean, like I said, is it a perfect Star Wars show? No. But it didn't, even if it was. Like I said, Star Wars fans are I mean, for like the last 6 or 7 years, there've been not all of them, but a good portion of them have been very unpleasant to be around. And this is coming from a Trek fan, and what we've had to deal with. It's like Star Wars. Some Star Wars fans it's just their existence just takes the fun out of it. So I kind of like, I turn a deaf ear to those guys. All right, next one.
So is Carnage still allowed?
Nope, next one.
Why not? He's not Venom.
It's a derivative of an overused. Even they understood that Venom was being overused, like right around about a year after he was released.
And in one movie, how has he been overused?
Venom's been in one.
No, Carnage has been in one movie.
I'm talking overall. Carnage came out 3 years after Venom did, so we're talking 30 years. With Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, I shouldn't see these characters as often as we do, especially in the movies. But next one. But like I said, I understand, and I'm not calling you guys babies or nothing like that. I wish you guys could have seen Spider-Man before it got deluged, before the creativity, when some of these characters, when they actually used their rogues galleries and they were respected, and because like I said, you got generations that think Venom is Spider-Man's top enemy, and that's kind of sad.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back to that. Jenner, you shouldn't go out in the summer. Las Vegas, unless it's from air conditioned to air conditioned.
For some people, it's not safe.
Well,
William, it's not safe.
He kind of because I made the comparison to Army of the Dead, about like 2 weeks ago or something, where I talked about, so it takes place in Vegas, and it's around like 4th of July when the movie takes place. So already you're dealing with a lot of heat, and I was the thing that jumped out at me, but he kind of shared a little bit of extra information on this with me. I figured, okay, so it's already going to be a hot day when they're pulling off this heist, but then they're going to go inside of the casino and down to where the vault is, and all the power's out, so you got to figure that all the AC is off. So I just figured it was gonna be like just like going to 7-Eleven in there, but he said no, actually the saves actually, and I guess like the hallway and the area general around, they have like a built-in cooling system so that it doesn't overheat.
Well, and plus, I mean, most of these safes have their own infrastructure because otherwise you'd be able to rob them just by turning the power off and shorting out the alarm. So most of those safes and things like that have pretty much their own atmosphere and their own electric. They have power plants down there for a lot of that stuff. So it would probably be the safest place to be, one of the safest places to be if something were to happen.
Well, I mean, he survived. One guy survives a nuclear blast in there.
Yeah. That I don't know if it's that safe, but I could see it being one of the safe. I mean, if Indiana Jones could be in a refrigerator and survive, which is, I mean, and I guess something that was designed because those safes are blast protected because that's how traditionally they used to probably try to break into them.
Yeah.
So.
Chappie, I heard that Acolyte's final look on the Star Wars is over. Well, you heard wrong. Star Wars is over.
I've been hearing that Star Wars is over and that so was nailed in a coffin for about 15 years now, and here we are still doing Star Wars.
Let's see. Just realized that Tomorea was the Scepter Geo covering Krypton. Okay.
Nope.
Well, I mean, you know him personally because you're offline, guarding all of Sector 2814, so you know him a little more directly than we do, Hal Jordan.
I forgot which story that they brought that up in, but I do remember that.
He actually, speaking of Tomorea, it's like, because obviously the Green Lantern movie is not the most highly regarded, among DC movies, but what were your thoughts on like the portrayal of like a lot of the other Lanterns, like a Tomorea and Kilowog and Sinestro? I really liked Sinestro, and Mark Strong's performance of Sinestro I thought was really strong.
I didn't think the movie was as bad as people think it is.
It's not bad. It's not upper tier, but it's not.
Well, because they don't treat Green Lantern as upper tier like they should. Be honest with you, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this. I thought that the most unconvincing person in the movie was Ryan Reynolds. I never bought him as Hal Jordan. I just never bought him. The tone that he brought in that movie, he was never convincing as Hal Jordan to me. Everybody else, ironically, I thought did well. Especially Sinestro. I thought everything else in that movie, the whole Parallax thing was stupid, but it's stupid in the comics too.
Well, so. It was, they also kind of merged Parallax and Krona there too. So even like the Parallax that's in the movie is not, it's sort of a reimagined, like rejiggered version of Parallax. He's very different design that he has in the comics, and he's still based around fear, but
no less. Different design, but no less of a stupid concept. I always hated the Parallax concept. And I know why they did it, but it was just, I mean, you could have come up with another way to explain all that. But, that's the only thing I didn't like about that original series that brought it back.
Well, I think also, like a lot of, and this is actually, I do think is where, like the movie, it's like, it's Green Lantern. So I think people were wanting it to go out in space a lot more than it did. And it's kind of like, it's got like a half and half between like the training on Oa, and then it's very centered on Earth for like a lot of it. So that's really kind of held it back in a lot of areas, I think.
I think because people have a distorted perception of the Green Lantern. I've been reading Green Lantern forever. Be honest with you, maybe it's just a personal preference. The best Green Lantern stories did not take place in space. They didn't take place in space because once you take Green Lantern and out into space, he's not unique and when you put him with the Green Lantern Corps, he's not unique anymore. He's out there with things that are basically on his level. When he's on Earth, I thought the stories have always been better, and I didn't mind the story. Me personally, didn't mind the story being anchored on Earth. I minded the story not being that good. And the core character, how that was playing Hal Jordan, I didn't think he was ever a fit for that. And that's not saying Ryan Reynolds isn't a good actor. I just didn't like him in that role. And he was the part of the movie the story and him are where Green Lantern falls apart for me.
And that was something we were talking about on the Vodka stream on Friday. The fact that, again, there's been, and it's also kind of, maybe bending the rules on band topics a little bit here, but it's kind of going into what you're saying about lanterns and things like that. We've had, so they had the 2011 movie, and then just every attempt so far to bring back Green Lantern in some capacity is just not. It just keeps not panning out. And we had Yalinger, make a cameo in the theatrical Justice League. He had also had the cameo in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It was somewhat different, somewhat expounded upon. And we had the flash of the dead Kilowog and the Nightmare. There was we almost got a John Stewart cameo in the movie too, and that got shot down because of plans they see you have of the character. And then of course there was a Green Lantern series they were talking about forever. They never got off the ground. There was the Green Lantern Corps movie. There was announced at one point that never got off the ground. Now there's this. So the Green Lantern just keeps getting screwed as far as like being adapted live action.
It's never been done it's never been done when there was somebody heading the organization that knew how to tell stories. That was the biggest weakness of the Hamada regime, and a lot of them. If your executives don't have to be great storytellers, but they have to have an appreciation for a great storytelling and where certain things fit in the story. After that, then they can have their guns and their Snyders and all that handle the specifics. But if like Kevin Feige, it doesn't do every little thing, but he understands, he appreciates where what goes, how it fits, where it flows, all that stuff, and then he hands it off. DC's never had that. You kind of have that now, and so you have to have a wait and see type of situation. It sounds like his approach to the Green Lanterns is probably the best chance for it to be successful than any of everything else. It's actually, when you bring Green Lanterns up, it's actually going to be taken seriously. It's probably going to be casted a lot better. Like I said, I mean, I know a lot of people like Ryan Reynolds because they like him in general. There's difference in liking Ryan Reynolds in general and thinking he's for every role. I thought I just didn't, at least the way he played the role in Green Lantern, I thought he was one of the weakest components besides the story. So I think James Gunn, being more of a comic book guy and more of a Lantern fan, he may understand the tone that is needed, then go ahead and pick the right actor. I think the casting is going to be is going to be one of the most important things, almost as much as the effects, because you have decent effects in Green Lantern and what it was for it to do that. But like I said, the two best things that are the two most important things you need to make a superhero movie wasn't in that movie. The core actor wasn't convincing as a core character, and the story was bad.
Well, and also we're as far as like what we're starting off with here is like and we're totally bending a band topic here, but I mean again I just have to make this point over and over. 8 billion people on this planet. If you ask every single one of them one by one, nobody will ever tell you that Guy Gardner is their favorite Green Lantern.
Well, I see that the Superman movie, I'm already gonna, like I said, if it means I'm getting lanterns, I'll do what I need to do to support it. It sounds like it's going to be something that I'm probably not going to be into just from what I'm hearing right now. That could change once I see a trailer and all that stuff. But okay, I'm getting Guy Gardner, but I'm also getting the two primary lanterns. So I could dismiss the Guy Gardner situation as long as he's not the basis of the lantern storytelling. I'm getting lanterns as the basis of so I'm okay with that, because I'm probably going to dismiss the Superman movie. Because not every superhero movie is for me. So but like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that's like, fuck James Gunn and fuck this movie. No, I just got that feeling that once you start introducing certain characters, the same thing that would cause me to put down the comic book would probably cause me not to really go all in with this. But if it's a bridge to Lanterns and Paradise Lost and some of the other stuff that I'm interested in, then let's see how it goes. Next one.
How's it going, Ruth? He said, yes, thank you, Ruth. And of course, like you said, you had your seance on our 666 mark we read a little bit ago.
Yes, and thank you, Hot 702 FM, for giving us that boost. That is still kind of creeping up on us.
What else we got? I don't know. I don't know if we could probably. We could, but I mean, I don't know if that's something they really gear and really re-record.
I saw it once or maybe twice when it came back on streaming. It's just not a rewatchable movie for me. It's just, I mean, I appreciate it for what it is when it was, and I really just don't refer to it. And it's just like I said, it just wasn't the time for it, and it just wasn't handled well. So, but who knows?
And I love Green Lantern as a character. I mean, it's like he's I was really excited when the movie was coming up, and it's like I did enjoy it. Um, but yeah, it's like it's just, as a fan of the character, it's like just the glut, the drought on handling, whether it's Hal or John or any version of Green Lantern. It's just really, it's been really disheartening. So hopefully that'll change. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, again, I would not put it like like upper echelon of like CBMs, but again, it's better than it gets credit for, I think. Let's see, Aztec or Midnight. So you see this thing with the crowd on Warped Tour called the Braveheart, and they get crowd split in two and smash. You're like, well, okay, here's Ron Azteca. Let's see. Hello, William and Brad. So the box office keeps people on. Studios still have a problem with delivering products that people actually want. Hollywood's become a joke lately. Are you talking about the which I guess that's the only like real news per se we have for today is the Bad Boys, because it did like 56 this weekend, which is really really good for what for the franchise's track record. And
What's he said?
he said, so the box office keeps proving people wrong. Studios still have a problem with delivering products that people actually want. Hollywood's become a joke lately.
Not with Bad Boys, right? Bad Boys did well.
Yeah, it did very well.
What do you clarify, Lynn?
Yeah, he said Bad Boys. I'm not wondering like what's the joke though that they have turned into with that, because they clearly made the right decision.
To me,
Bad Boys.
To me, Bad Boys is the decision making, it being done right, whereas Furiosa wasn't. Not an indictment on the quality of the movie. It's just business decisions. When you make a decision based on what Bad Boys data had to offer you, that's how it turns out. When you make a decision based on what Fury Road and where Max was and the decisions you made cast-wise, that's where it led them. See, each set of decision makings led two different groups of people to two different results. I guess I may clarify a little bit, Lindelli.
Yeah, he's saying Bad Boys is a hit, the Furiosa wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we agree. I agree. Yeah.
Well, I'm not quite sure though how those two directly connect though, because it's
I think I just articulated it, because two different sets of decisions, one bad decision, one good one.
Well, they're also
paid off, one did.
Well, they're also two separate sets of decision makers too. So
yeah.
Reason why Bad Boys worked, yeah, and clearly it did work. So
yeah. Like I said, some movies, and people just like to throw shit at me when I say this, some movies shouldn't be made. Just because you like them and they make you feel good doesn't mean it was a good business decision to make them. I love Shazam. I love the way Shazam made me feel, especially that first one. When I walked out, I felt really good wearing this exact t-shirt. I loved that movie. But in the strategic, landscape of things, what did that movie do for it or the franchise that cradled it? Nothing. It actually hurt. And then you doubled down and you made another one that ended up losing you money. And all the while, we're making all this mismatch shit with the, Birds of Prey and Fantabulous. Who the fuck?
Just say the title correctly one time.
Sorry to say that stupid ass title. That hurt the movie, by the way. That's my other bad decisions. All these other movies that came in and just basically put your franchise at the bottom of the ocean. So when regardless of how, and I think people get confused of whether the quality of a movie is at a certain level and whether, the business of the movie is. They're not the same. Unfortunately, the quality of a movie doesn't always correlate to the success of the business.
That should be a good watch party for us to do. Actually, would be the first Shazam. I think. Maybe like that'd be like a Christmas one. That'd be probably a good one.
Yeah,
because
I love the first Shazam
because it did also they did also kind of screw themselves, and like really it's a Christmas movie they put out in April, and also they sandwiched it between Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame. So they did probably cost themselves some business, in that kind of window they put it out on.
When I asked those people about it, I think it benefited from them. It wasn't gonna. It would have probably made a less movie on its own. It just wasn't a character. Dude, listen, at the Shazam movies, I'm standing, I shit you not, in front of the giant premiere screen that says Shazam on it. I'm wearing his logo on my shirt. And I got people who I have provided tickets and seats to be here at this movie coming up to me and not jokingly saying, "Cool Flash shirt, man." no less than 30 fucking people were doing that. So when you have that kind of non-recognition and support for the character, it's a problem. That's a problem. The JV member of the first line of Justice League, the guy at the end of the bench, which is the Flash, got more recognition than the character that I'm at the movie for. I got you into the movie to see Shazam. I literally gave you a giant ticket with this logo on it. The tickets were cool, and you come up to me with the Flash. So that's the problem. It didn't matter where you released the Flash. The main problem with the Shazam. There you
Shazam.
go. The main problem.
There you go.
Yeah, the biggest problem that Shazam had is that it was Shazam. Same thing with Black Adam. Even with studio mismanagement, all the mismanagement, the biggest problem you have with some of these characters is that people just don't want to take a risk on these characters, unfortunately. And like I said, Shazam was cheap and it made a little bit of money, but that wasn't enough to say let's go at it again. And they did, and it just it's just that, like I said, those are just bad decisions. But like I said, I like Shazam, but if I were your executive guy and I was in your corner office, and you came to me with Shazam, it would have never happened. It would have never happened.
COVID did not hurt Shazam. Shazam came like a year before the pandemic.
Shazam came out in 2019.
Yeah, it was like a year in. COVID was not a factor there.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a factor with the second one either. So
no, it was just it was Shazam. It's Shazam. It's just it's now Shazam with the infrastructure of like a Kingdom Come or an overarching storyline where he fits would have been good. See, like I said, the biggest problem is not doing these sub characters and these B characters instead of support of. If you put these B characters out in support of your A-listers, it does well. When you put them out of there instead of your A-listers, it doesn't do well. It just But that's like I said, people are going to have to come to the realization, in my opinion, that some of these movies that you shouldn't say that. How can you say that? Yeah, I can say that. Look at the fucking numbers. Math is stomping on the throats that all you guys are laughing at me. I am not even the messenger. Math is its own messenger. Math is its own consequence. All right, Furiosa, that's math with two bullhorns screaming in both of your ear holes. In languages and in text that you cannot misinterpret. So, bad decisions lead to bad math.
William, what's your stance when it comes to Garbage Pail Kids and the Emoji movies? Garbage Pail Kids definitely. There's no. That shouldn't have been. That's one that really should never have been made.
If you were ever going to make a Garbage Pail movie, it would have been like right at the height of the Garbage Pail phenomenon.
And you damn sure don't make it like the way you did make it.
Yeah, that was
god
just,
awful.
I don't know that. See, that's where you should be relieved of your duties.
Yes.
What told you that was? And then the emoji movie. James Corden was in that movie, and it's a joke to him. And those are decisions that should cause you to be replaced, in my opinion.
Oh, he's clarifying same person. Well, yeah, but even that, because like it beat the pandemic by like a month, and it did. Most movies are going to do the bulk of their business in like the first 15, 16 days. So it's like so that wasn't really a factor for it either. If it had come out like beginning of March, then it would have gotten screwed by COVID. But it had enough breathing room that it could have done better if the foundation for it was there. And there were things that came out like The Invisible Man came out around the same time. It did very well for itself, but it lost some business to COVID because it came out like a week or two later. But it did very well. Sonic, it lost some business to COVID, but it probably lost like 10% of its business to COVID. Sonic, because it did like 320 something like that. So it still performed very well, and it got released closer to COVID.
Yeah, at some point, I mean, COVID was a reason for some of these movies, but like I said, there wasn't. COVID doesn't excuse poor decision making. Next one.
No. Well, you're definitely being sarcastic because you can criticize some decisions he's made, I think, but this definitely ain't it.
He's
definitely
talking
be-
to he's talking
he's
to
definitely he's being
brother.
sarcastic. He's definitely
Yeah.
being sarcastic. Yeah. Oh, Shazam! Jingle All the Way. Yeah, I'd love to do a watch party of that.
I
no,
will have to find ways to
Jingle All the
distract
Way is
myself.
so underrated. It's so underrated.
I'll be with you for Shazam, but I can't sit through Jingle All the Way.
You know, and see, I'm the guy who sits through all the scary movie bullshit, but he sneaks out whenever there's something you.
I'm not sneaking out. I'm just upright getting out. I'll do with like the Meet the Spartans one. I just got up and fucking left. I didn't sneak.
Oh,
I
it is
left.
not. Come on, it is not Meet the Spartans bad, man. Come on, you don't like Jingle All the Way.
But once again, you're talking to a guy who I hate to say this, but my time is worth more than comedies. That's just not. I'm not the comedy guy.
Yeah, Jingle All the Way is like. Listen. Okay, and here's the other thing too about it is that you're going to tell me that now maybe this is kind of changing in the time since because we do so much more online shopping now. But you're going to tell me that Jingle All the Way is not a slice of life with like the way it shows like holiday season shopping on Christmas Eve.
Nah, Thanksgiving does it more than that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That Black Friday is but still, it's like if they so if they move it back a month, the day it takes place, does that make it like somehow like not a realistic depiction of like how crazy we can get like during our holiday season?
I am not doubting it. I just can't sit through those type of movies anymore.
I really the part that really makes me one of the parts that makes me laugh so much is when they go to the radio station because they're trying to phone the radio station to get the Turbo Man doll at one point and they can't get through and the guy in the diner says, hey, it's just 2 blocks away, just go knock on the door, and they get there and Sinbad pulls out. He says, it's like, I don't need the answer, I got a homemade explosive device. I mean, just the impulse of that, like it's Christmas shopping and people are bringing weaponry for this. I just can't. And even though it's like he's kind of bluffing because he doesn't expect that it's real, he's just pulling out a package and he thinks like they'll think it's a bomb and they'll give me what I want, and then the second one does go off. But still, just the impulse, the idea that anybody would consider going Christmas shopping and I'm going to bring a bomb with me to secure my holiday merchandise. I mean, yes, watch the news sometimes. It's like this is why I don't go shopping on or if I do any shopping on Black Friday, it's going to be online because I'm not putting myself through that shit. So people can get a little bit. Our holiday season shopping can bring out kind of some of the fruitcakes, and can bring out the fruitcakes inside of us. So this Jingle All the Way lampoons that very well, I think. I'm sorry, I had to say all that.
Yeah, corrupted the show with comedy, but all right, sure. That's the next one.
Well, it's also involves is sci-fi and superheroes. It's definitely sci-fi when Arnold like at a parade float has like a fully functional rocket pack on his back. That he just if that's not sci-fi, I don't know what is. Okay, let's see. Mad Max futurist Mel Gibson. Yeah, bring him back and have him play Max, and then you can bring back Tom Hardy for. Okay, I can't talk about that apparently.
You can't even keep a straight face anymore. I think you're starting to understand just how silly.
This fuck I am.
Have a blessed night, homie. Hope everything's going well. Do hope Thank you, Carter.
Let's see. Okay, I wouldn't go this far, man. I'm not when I say I like Jingle All the Way, I'm not going this far. Okay.
It's not even. It's a comparison I can't make because I don't. Like I said, I'm just not sitting through those movies.
I can't stand your buffoonery. Tommy Lee William Hal Jones.
Yeah, I really, that's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to movies. If it's buffoonery, that's how you keep me away from the theater. I don't do buffoonery. I'm just not. I know other people love it, and more power to you. I value my time more than I do too much to go see those movies. It's just me.
Sinbad was the best part of the movie. Shane, what happened? Yeah, Jake Lloyd. Because of Star Wars. And he maybe I should back that. It's not because of Star Wars, but really it's kind of what William was saying earlier. It's kind of in a lot of it's because of Star Wars fandom. Yeah. I mean that really, and not only him, but also Ahmed Best. Like really, I mean
and what's his face? What's his face?
Hayden Christensen. Yeah,
Hayden Christensen. Yeah, I'm glad to see him recover it from it though.
Me too.
He handled it better than a lot of these people did. He took it in stride, and he's still part of the Star Wars family. Yeah. And now that people they've had time to respect what he is because I like him. Yes, Captain. Heck, that's a long story. That's a stream on its own. Captain Marvel
Oh
with
yeah,
Fawcett
maybe
Comics and the whole lawsuit and everything else.
you should make that like a turning point story for Saturday Night
Yes,
Show.
you know I should. That's a good idea because the lawsuit and then it didn't come back to publication until 1973. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and explain why DC has a Shazam who was formerly Captain Marvel, while Marvel has a Captain Marvel, and like all the semantics and.
By the way,
around those.
Marvel did that, but I think it works out for the best because even when I see that Captain Marvel, I associate him with Shazam. I know that. I mean, Shazam. It's for the best in my opinion. Hold on, Shazam. Thank you. Send myself an email so I don't fuck this up. But yeah, sorry guys. When it comes to the comedy stuff, that's what Brad's here for. Brad can answer those questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not into it.
No, Tom Hardy slipped that roll's mask get fixed. Well, yeah, he is the fake Max because.
Next.
Fourth is he's really pushing the Mel Gibson Max comeback though.
Well, that's the only way they're going to do another one, I think.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's like what kind of odds would you give it that there is like either there are or there maybe there's a good chance that they're being like at the discussion, like let's get Gibson on the phone. Like,
Gibson's already on the phone because he's executive producer for all of these movies, so I'm pretty sure he's in the conversation. He's part of Furiosa in a way. Him and George Miller are side by side with this franchise, and I think that because Furiosa was critically acclaimed and not, it wasn't like a bad movie. You still have a shot, but it has to be.
Yeah, it's a well-liked bomb.
It has to be. You got to have something for the common man to come in and reconnect, and in a way, you'll help Furiosa in retrospect. But yeah, I don't see. Matt is undefeated. Matt, like I said, Matt is undefeated. It kicks me around every day, but like I said, fanboys, we don't beat Math. All right, fanboy emotions are like a water gun to titanium. Shit doesn't happen.
So, Larry put a hashtag. I can't pull it up, but he put a hashtag in there, so I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I'll bring it up something that's more to William's liking because I'm definitely going to breach into a banned topic there. What's your Christmas movie?
A Christmas Story. You shoot your eye out.
That's a good question. We're already talking about the Christmas movie before we even get anywhere near Christmas. William, thank you.
I'm anti-comedy. I don't want if your movie is based on comedy, I'm probably just not going to go see it unless I'm forced to or I lost a bet or I had to shepherd a group of junior enlisted, and whatever they wanted to see. But no, like I said, the last comedy I actually paid to see was Tropic Thunder. Probably going to be the last one I paid to see.
Yeah,
especially with the streaming area. With the streaming era now, I can if I had any inkling to watch some buffoonery, I can just watch it on whatever. And if it sucks, I'll get my last, and then no loss, no time wasted.
Yeah. These I would definitely put in my favorite because Scrooge. Yeah, that's kind of a big one in my family. Don't bring Hardy up again. Stop tempting me, guys. Okay. Scrooge. That's a Christmas classic in my family. Of course, Home Alone. I mean, that's like a generational thing for my generation, definitely, and it definitely falls under like a sci-fi and fantasy. The idea that anybody could survive all those traps. I mean, that's like.
Or anybody leave their damn kids twice like that.
Well, those that's one thing you pick up on too as you get older with Home Alone is that this family, these are terrible people. These are horrible parents. Uncle Frank is an asshole. And yes, all those traps. It's like, I mean, I look it up on YouTube sometimes, like doctors, diagnosing like all the injuries from the Home Alone traps. I mean, it's like these guys do not survive.
Some of them they're dead. That one where he gets hit. Yeah, there's some of those traps.
The bricks. That's I was like 5 when I first saw Home Alone 2. That was the point. Even at that young age,
electricity. I mean,
when he like dunks his head in the toilet bowl full of kerosene.
Yeah,
and then the house like lights up like. Poof. Yeah, these guys are. Some of these things are like. It's not even like mortally wounded. I mean, it's like instant death. A lot of these things.
There's a certain amount of voltage that the human body can take, and they took it in that, and then are alive.
Or like,
but like I said,
it's another one I love is in the second one when he swings like the first he tries with the cans, in the second one then he swings like that steel bar down
Yeah.
and just nails them both in the face, knocks them down like 40
The
feet.
stair, the stairs. The many times that they fell down the stairs, they're in a wheelchair or paralyzed. So.
Yes, I remember seeing this one because, like I said, you can look up on YouTube doctors diagnosing the injuries, and one they were going through the first one, and it's at the part in the first one where the shovel guy like rescues Kevin. He slams them both with his snow shovel, and he knocks them out. And the doctor says, I love that these guys have both had like 10 head injuries each, and finally they get knocked out here.
Yeah, I mean they're brain damaged, but yeah, it's like I said, no, some of those movies you obviously you're suspending belief. But to me, it's just when I have to suspend belief that much, I'm like, okay, I want to at least be watching a genre that I'm into.
Well, it's kind of like when we were watching Monkey Man. I mean, you were seeing like we're in the middle of it, like when he in like the big chase scene, like and when he's escaping the hotel. Yeah. It's like oh yeah, he took so much like damage there. It's like yeah, he's nah.
That dude bled out a quarter of the way into that. I mean, he's dead. I mean, he's getting injured in spots where your blood loss is quick. And I'm like, okay, that one where you got hit on the leg and he's bleeding out of the leg. I'm like, okay, you got about 5 minutes, but you're going to go ahead and fight all these people. All right, cool. All right, cool. But at least it's a genre. It's action, science fiction, horror that I can go for. Yeah. When it's like, like I said, buffoonery, I'm just like, I just don't have the willpower.
And like Home Alone, you have to, you really have to treat at least that part of it. You have to treat like a Looney Tunes cartoon because that's the only like way like it can like cognitively make any sense is the idea that these guys could just take this much abuse and survive. Yeah. I don't know about that.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Yeah, Film Junkie, I said it.
Oh, really? It's not a because I'm Team Film Junkie on this one.
It is not a film. It's not. Here's why. Just because something takes place in a certain time, right. It's not part of the story. It's not part of the story. You could have had any other type of social gathering or party, and it doesn't change the movie. It could be, he's visiting his kids for Christmas. He could be visiting his kids for his wife's birthday. He could be on visitation. They were going through. There's a lot of things. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
I feel like sometimes I'm the voice of reason on here.
It's not. I mean, it's not if when you can take and interchange the holiday element out of it and stick something else there, then that's not the movie.
We have to do a watch party. We have to do watch party of Die Hard at some point. Really, we should anyway. Just as
it's a great. But no, Die Hard is a fucking spectacular movie. Don't get me wrong, but it was released in like fucking June or April of 1988 or whatever. It is not.
Well, it's also it. I say that also because it's like it's almost like a commemorative thing. Because it's so unfortunate, because Bruce Willis has had to step back because of his what he's going through, and that sucks because he's I think he was actually very underrated. I mean, he's obviously very associated with like John McClane, a lot of action.
He spent too much time on TV. He should have gotten into action though, like 4 years later. Well, Moonlighting was such a success at the time. It was like he wasn't.
But he had a lot more range, I think, than he gets credit for too. I mean, like
watch Tears of the Sun.
Well, I would even say like Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. Like Unbreakable, I
think he's good. He's the best part about both of those movies.
Yeah,
because I did not like the end. Dude, I really wanted to physically beat something at the end of Sixth Sense. I'm like,
really,
I did not like that twist. I was like, what? All right, well, fuck. I was like, it just makes me keep a side eye out for him. Not so, like I said, he has a tendency sometimes to derail his cause when things go south. He did a real good job with Knock at the Cabin. That's the first time where everything lined up and it didn't piss me off. But Signs is like, why did you have to show
no
Spider Mice monster?
No, the worst twist is The Village. Because it's a twist you could see
coming. The Village just wasn't a good movie for me.
The twist there you could see coming 500 miles away.
Yeah, that in the movie. I think The Village might be his worst movie.
Yeah, I think so.
That might be his worst movie. So
I think that's where I think that's kind of where his sort of his downturn, the kind of the rut he got into. I think it really began with The Village.
It's okay to be wrong, Chappie.
Aaron also is saying Mel Gibson's the only way. I'm thinking now it's like with how Furiosa kind of the unfortunate again, it's a well-liked bomb, but a well-liked bomb is still a bomb. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it's
I'm coming to this. I'm coming to the conclusion. Yeah, if you want to see like more Mad Max earlier than 20 years from now, Mel Gibson's probably your best shot.
and have him do a Godfather 2 type of situation where he's the narrator, but you could use him to market it. He's in the movie enough to justify it, but he's the narrator. He's old. He's dealing with a current situation, but he's also flashing back. I still think there's mileage left in Tom Hardy. I think they hurt their cause by not doing him in succession with this and doing a movie without any major stars. He had some up and comers, but Charlize Theron hey, listen, no disrespect to Anya Taylor-Joy, but Charlize Theron is on a different level.
She was much more established. Yeah.
Yeah, Academy Award winner, and she's a better. I mean, and like I said, and then you have a Mad Max movie without Mad Max. It's like you Han Soloed yourself. You soloed yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there's the. It's interesting too because of course with Mel Gibson, of course you have to deal with the elephant in the room of and we've talked about this before, but the reason I bring this up is because I was watching I don't know if we ban topics, we ban people, but I did take a look at Grace Randolph's kind of like she does the weekly box office.
I can't stand her voice, so go ahead and tell me what happened. Her voice just makes my ears just.
Well, she was talking about Bad Boys doing very well this weekend, and she mentioned like Will Smith. The way she describes like Will Smith got himself uncanceled, and I thought, I don't know if I'd go as far as say he got canceled. He was in some controversy with the Oscars thing, but I don't think I'd say he was canceled though. Listen, I don't think he was. Yeah.
The audience doesn't.
Yeah, and there's that too. They clearly the audience didn't care. So
don't care. He could. I won't be surprised before too long that you won't see Chris Rock on the screen with him. It's just nobody. We think people care about things more than they do, and they don't. People, you know what? At the end of the day, people just want to be entertained. People just want to come home or go out and let go, and they want to watch. They want to detach themselves and watch something that's detached, and they're not going to do the work to attach their entertainment to all this other shit. So I think Mel Gibson would be fine.
Yeah, well, but yeah, that's my mind kind of flashed to that too, talking about him as potentially returning as a Mad Max. But I don't know though. So when you describe like somebody like being canceled or like really like having like a career downturn, I mean, the slap. I mean, it left a mark on Will's career probably, if only because he just has such a squeaky clean image. It still does. Other than that, I mean, that's really the only blemish you could really only controversies really run into. I think they people.
And his crazy goofy marriage. That's.
Well, yeah, but yeah. I mean, people aren't getting involved in it. People aren't digging into that.
They're not going to get involved in this either. Most of the people, like I said, didn't even know what the Oscars was before the slap, and they care about it less afterwards. So,
but I would say Mel Gibson, like you talk about somebody getting canceled. I would say he was more. The term "canceled" was probably more applicable to him than I think it was to Will Smith. I would say now. Going back to Aaron's point about Mel, let me bring up her comment again. Damn it, where'd it go? There it goes. Okay, yeah. Going back to that with the downturn Furiosa had. Yeah, I'm becoming. The more I think about it, yeah, it's like I think unless other you basically I think have two choices at this point with Mad Max. It's either the franchise takes at least a 10-year sabbatical, or Mel Gibson comes back. So, and if they're in, as William said, it's like there's with Furiosa falling under like a well-liked bomb, that does suggest okay, maybe our strategy financially wasn't like the best path to take, but there the reception still indicates that people are still open to this world and this franchise. So it's like maybe like our best shot to actually reap the kind of rewards we're trying to get from this really might be like bringing back our original Max. So yeah, the more I think about it, it's like I'm thinking this might actually become a real possibility. More I think about
because
it,
I don't even think bringing Tom Hardy back it would be enough because of the fact that it's just a lot of factors. Mel Gibson, even with Tom Hardy, is associated with Mad Max. and he took himself offline. It wasn't like Mel Gibson was asking for a bunch of roles and was getting turned down. Mel Gibson charts his own path. If he didn't want to work, it's because he didn't.
Well, he's also become much more of a filmmaker these days too.
Yeah, he's a production. I mean,
Yeah.
his money. He could get the money together that and partner up with George Miller and because like I said, he's already invested in it. He's already Mad Max is pretty much him and George Miller are the two pieces of ownership that are Mad Max.
Well, and here's the other thing too that that Larry points out because we talk about the idea of people like being canceled or people like famous people entering controversy. I mean, obviously we see there are definitely instances of that, but as I've said in other streams, one thing that especially in this country, audiences love, they love a good redemption story, and it's like Mel Gibson returning to the role that he broke out with. I mean, it's like after. He'd already started building himself back up with things like Hacksaw Ridge and appearing on the Continental and a few other things he's done. So this could be like the kind of like the full circle that they could. I mean, this at a studio level, they probably would even be a little bit cynical about this in terms of like we can package like the comeback of Mel Gibson,
but see,
the full comeback of Mel Gibson. Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't call it a comeback. He took himself out of it.
Yeah,
I would argue that Mel Gibson, after all that nonsense, could have done whatever he wanted to. He chose. He runs his show. He doesn't have a boss anymore. He makes the movies, and then he actually did. He finds distribution, and if there's not distribution, there's a lot of other places he can do it. He took himself out of the game because remember he was also going through stuff. It wasn't just a backlash of what was going on because, like I said, people are fickle and they're full of shit and they forget about stuff in 5 minutes.
Well,
he was actually going through.
He was going through alcoholism, going through bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
So
that's what It wasn't necessarily a comeback. It was he stepped away for his own because he was in a bad place, man. He was in a bad place.
Well, I think it's very clear from the kind of things that happened during that period that he was not well.
He did not need to be out in public and all the crazy shit that he was saying. But, like I said, when it comes to public figures, when people say that, somebody needs to come back from something, I'm like, I look at the audiences and what they'll go for. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I asked the other night, and I'm still waiting. Like, could we see, the Ezra Miller come back?
Oh, the problem with Ezra Miller is, he's not anywhere.
He's not not at Mel Gibson level. I get that.
He's not a Will Smith level. He's not. No offense to Ezra, he's not an A-lister in that regards.
But could that also be like advantageous too? It's like you in that you're not falling as far as they would.
Yeah. Well, that one, he's not an A-lister, and two, the internet is not the world. The majority of people that you would need to, if he were an attraction, didn't give a fuck about what was going on. The internet did. YouTube chats did. John Campias did. People who are, like I said, have our eyeballs attached to our monitors or our phones did. But the other 97, 98% did not give a squirrel fuck about what Ezra Miller was going through. If he had been an A-list star, maybe. But even at that point, we just watched an A-list star do far worse. We have people that have literally, Jonathan Majors will eventually be back on the screen somewhere, and I think he somebody in a concussion.
I think his transgressions, I think his do exceed Ezra's. I think
he
his
could have killed that girl.
Yeah,
that girl could have had a brain bleed, and he was telling her not to go to the hospital. Jonathan Majors will be back on your big screen, and he was not as Kang, but but he'll be back doing something. So, and that even then, guess what? He sent to go to the hospital. People don't care. The general audience doesn't know or care, and if they do know, they're not obligated to care. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, as Chappie points out, yeah. Well, he's probably also going to be back to like making those creepy Christmas Eve videos too.
Kevin Spacey, regardless of what you think, has sway and has allies that will eventually get him back on the big screen.
Well, he's had a few people speak out in support of him too recently.
Yeah. And for every person that you see actually step out, that empowers some of these other executives to be like, you know what? And as we get further and further away, and all you have to do is win half of these cases, and you'll be back. RDJ was in a jumpsuit. You always see those memes where you see him, with his Academy Award, and one of them's in a courtroom. And Robert Downey Jr. became an A-lister. Listen,
And
we want to be entertained.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And he also spoke up in support of Mel Gibson too. He was really in his corner. Yeah.
The audience doesn't. If they could wish your private life away, for the most part, they would. When Robert Downey Jr., I want to see Iron Man. I don't give a fuck about what
well, and also it's like, it's part of that's also, shouldn't the private life remain private? Even for famous people. It's like how much do we need to know, and how much are we entitled to know about these people's? They're people too.
And even if I know about it, I want to see Iron Man. You know what I mean? I want to see Mad Max. A customer, like I said, that's the beauty of being a customer. Even if they know this stuff, they don't have to care about it. And that is their prerogative. Yeah.
Aaron says, "I'd love to see Ezra Miller in a martial arts movie." Apparently Ezra actually did some kung fu training in China to actually prepare for the Flash. Let's see some Ezra break out some Ezra skills and some fight choreography. By the way, Aaron, also because remember we played the trailer I got to help put out for Life After Fighting with Brent Foster. If you haven't seen that yet, look it up on Amazon. It is off the chain. Life After Fighting is rad. You look that up right now. Look at that, Aaron. That is awesome. I freaking loved Life After Fighting.
They did temporarily throw us off yesterday for the Hulk song.
Oh yeah, and it was not for me. It was not because of me.
I'm still blaming you. They actually lifted it, but they gave me a thing saying, "Okay, we're not going to block. It has no consequence thing on it. But if you get monetized, this could hold things up." So I went ahead and just said, "Fuck it," and took it off anyway. Because eventually it just blocked the video. Then when it gave me the option to take it off, it had released it, and it was gonna. But I'm like, damn! I just got to the point where we might get monetized. So let's go ahead and just play it safe. Take that shit off.
Well, so that could be like a strike against you once you start getting monetized. If you
not a strike. It'll get the claims themselves are part of the decision making. It won't hurt your channel as far as you being taken off the air, but when they go through the process of looking through everything, that is part of the decision making. So I'm like, let's go ahead and get rid of it.
Okay, that's because we're just getting to the threshold now.
We're just like I could probably skate by, but since I don't know enough about the process, and this is
I'd say
because that was an important part of my point that I was making. But I'm like, I could have kept it up, but then I'm like, nah.
It's still my fault somehow. I'm the sabotager now.
We're gonna find that out there. You're the sabotager of worlds.
Once the channel hits 1,000, the claims will take the ad revenue.
Yeah. That's we don't want to do that. So we were gonna have to tighten shit up and be all around the board. But like I said, I never thought when I texted eCrease, I'm like, hey, can you help me out? Because I know I was expecting maybe 30 or 40 boosts. I mean, I didn't expect to. We're at 200 something since then. We're at 220 something. And literally, a shift.
I mean, we might. I think it's actually it's not a bad chance that we might clear 1,000 before Comic-Con.
That'd be awesome because
we only have 332, left to make that, and we just added over 240, in the last or 220, whatever, in the last less than 48 hours. So, yes, please, everybody who's been joining, please keep coming in.
That song he's quoting a song that was used to open Enterprise. That was so disappointing when I heard that. I went to the premiere of Enterprise when it first came out, when UPN invited us, before UPN started to fall apart. They invited us out there, but the song that they used was a song called Wherever You Will Go by The Calling. That's the song that they used, and I thought that was going to be the song that they used to promote it. And when I heard this song, it sounds like a really bad Rod Stewart song, and I just really was like, this is what you're going to intro it with? But yeah, we're also going to do. I'm probably going to get some hate too because I want to do a stream about Old Trek fan and the damage that Old Trek fan left in his wake. Because this is a lesson to Star Wars fans. Don't become what we were from 2005 to 2017. Don't do it.
Maybe get Robert Meyer Burnett on that for that show because he had him on before.
Yeah, that might be the last time we have him on too, because he
Why is
knows
that?
me and him do not disagree or agree on Trek. I mean, we respectfully
Well,
disagree.
he and I agree on something.
We're talking relevant shit. Yeah, he's old Trek fan, and we're from the same generation too.
But he's
like
not uncivil like old Trek.
No. And people, be honest with you, when he posts something about that, it's kind of unfortunate the way people come at him, because it's a conversation to be had. We had the conversation when we had him on, because I told him we're both Generation Xers, so I'm not coming at you from some inexperienced kid that just came on the Trek. We both grew up on Trek. We both had it handed down to us from our parents. And I was trying to show him, I'm like, I watched Generation, right? Well, I love all of this stuff, but I'm in a part where I don't want to go through. I don't want us to be the ones that suffocate where Trek is going to go. It's going to go where it's going to go. And you'll always have your Trek. If it goes somewhere I don't like, I will always have my Trek. It's just like, but at some point it becomes reflective of the people who are watching it, and we can't be fossils when it comes to this stuff, unless we just want Trek to die. And like I said, I don't think Star Wars will ever get that way, because I do think that most Star Wars, when it comes to Star Wars, the general public drowns out the diaper shitters. The general public will go see these movies no matter what. They have basic needs when it comes to Star Trek. The online community, that's one thing, but the mass shows you that the majority of people, and it was the general audience that caused Solo to fail, because they didn't see that as Star Wars too. Plus, they just watched him die, and there was a lot of things but if that would have been something that would have appealed to the general audience, then Solo would have been done well. But it was a bad concept. It was a bad idea.
I actually meant to ask you about that the other night too. We were talking about Solo and Han Solo's death and like how that played into the franchise. Because first of all, like one thing I'm going to get up front right away, when Force Awakens first came out, and it gets that scene where Han, he spots Kylo Ren like on the catwalk, and he kind of hesitates, and he says, "Hey Ben," and he runs down to him, and like the way that whole like everything was framed there, I knew Han was going to die right there. I mean, it's like I think the movie was being very clear, like how it was hinting, yeah, this is Han's impending death, but also like what you're saying about how like they really shot themselves in the foot with like killing off Han. But the thing is also is like, now I don't know if this has been confirmed, like how Force Awakens played out, but I mean Harrison Ford has been wanting to kill off Han for a while. I mean, he
wanted to kill off Han in
Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So isn't that also, it's like, I don't know how like much creative was that, like maybe how they talked him into returning for Force Awakens, saying it's like, okay, I'll come back if Han dies in this one.
Probably, but the problem was Kylo Ren was a bad vehicle to do a lot of the stuff that they were doing throughout that. I think Kylo Ren was probably one of the worst parts about it. Too, the problem, if you were going to make that bold step and handing the torch off, then fucking do it. They didn't. They got caught in that nostalgia mousetrap, and they never recovered. With the potential of what Force Awakens let you in on was not what the last two movies were about, but that was fine. Audience score for Star Wars is hella low, even the non-on-type. But yeah, but audience scores are online bullshit. Audience scores and aggregates are the people who sit online for the most part. You could release a Star Wars, if it's a Star Wars proper movie, you release it next week, and it's not a Brad story or it's not a Clint story.
It's the Brad story. That's their like $3 billion hit.
But if it's Star Wars, it's gonna make $1 billion. It's gonna make $1 billion. All right, because like I said, they're full of shit. The online community, and see, here's the thing about Disney and Star Wars. When it comes to movies, they know where their bread is buttered. They know where their money is coming from. And, so yeah, but, you get people online, and you have people review bombing stuff, which at the time that these reviews came out was a thing. And I'm like, you sat your dumb ass down and reviewed a movie that you probably didn't even see. It's just kind of a lot of stupid shit. So, no, I mean, the general audience is not. Most audience members in general don't don't do scores. Most audience members don't do the Rotten Tomatoes things. If you look at the actual numbers, the whole totality of people who actually give a score to anything online, it's minuscule in comparison to the people that actually go see the movie. That's why I always tell people.
And I think also you talk about audience scores. If you talk about audience scores, I mean, whether it's on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or Amazon or whatever, or Netflix, Amazon, what have you. I've always kind of been of the understanding, like you would think that if somebody is inclined to actually go through the effort to like review something on one of these aggregates, they're probably it's. I would think people who liked whatever it is are more predisposed to do that than people who didn't.
No, most people who like something just watch it and move on. They like it. They figured they supported it. If there's some merchandise, they'll buy it, things like that. Most people who like something, the vast majority of people in general that like something, they go and see it and they'll talk with it about their buddies. They'll do it in the general ways, but they're not extremists. They're not fanatics to that point because they don't feel that they need to. The majority of people who make the noise are the people who don't think they've got what they wanted. And those people are louder than the majority because, like I said, most of the times, if I didn't have this show, I'd go see it. I like it. Great. I wait for the next one to come out. Or I recommend it to somebody else. I'm not going to get online and go fucking crazy about something I liked. I got what I wanted. Usually it's the discontent that makes the noise. Most people, average people, they like it. They'll wait for the next one to come out. Or they'll go see it again. They'll talk with their pocketbooks. They don't do it from behind the keyboard.
Chappie says William Brad and all that because of the Last Jedi backlash. Disney Lucasfilm scared. Just gave J.J. Abrams a year to do it and then just forcing him to retcon The Last Jedi. Disney Lucasfilm stuff life. And that's the thing.
Well,
too,
they also brought but they brought the life back into the franchise too. So I mean, we weren't talking Star Wars movies before that.
Well, talking about him specifically though, because he hasn't. I mean, he's got his company, so he's had his hands in a few different pies, but he hasn't as a filmmaker. I mean, it's he hasn't directed since Rise of Skywalker, and of course that went through just all kinds of hell as far as reshoots and rewrites and whatnot. So I have kind of wondering, it's did that break him as a filmmaker, and did he feel like I need to kind of take a step back from this a little bit?
Nah, J.J. Abrams understands. He understands all this stuff. He dealt with Star Trek coming into this, so he understands. He knows what he needs to do. That kind of the big boys, the shit like that doesn't affect them. The problem with the biggest problem that Star Wars had during that era was the fear to do something new. Whenever they got to the edge that they were going to do something outside of the Skywalker backyard, they pulled back. They relented, and that's what happened. I mean, that's what happened with those movies. But like I said, you release a Star Wars this Christmas. And it's just a proper Star Wars, regardless of what Fourth is saying, because once again, we're on the fucking internet, guys. All right, we are not the canaries in the coal mine. It's going to make its money. I'm not going to tell you whether it's going to be great or not, but I know it's going to make its money. That brand name is that strong.
Droga says, I just finished. Yeah, he mentioned he was doing some illustrations of Shocker right now. It's interesting you mentioned that too, because you're talking about villains who've been as far as how they've been implemented in different adaptations, and that's actually one of the things I always, as far as Spider-Man movies, I always felt like they brought Shocker in. He's part of the Vultures kind of gang of thieves in Spider-Man: Homecoming. That was one of the because I really liked Homecoming a lot, but that was one of the things where I was like, oh man, I wish we could have gotten more Shocker, because I really like Shocker. They had him on the animated series big time when I was a kid, and he's he is kind of underutilized, I think, in the Spider-Man lexicon. So I thought
he's a Q-lister. He's basically he's a complimentary character. He's not a rogues gallery. He's in the rogues gallery, but he's one of those guys that I need to send this guy to let you know that other guy is there. He's he's a lackey. He's a lackey. When you only have so much time to tell a story in each movie, believe it or not, if you total up all the Spider-Man movies, you're only talking about 6 hours of total movie making, right? So you only have a little bit amount of time to put and tell a story. You can only use so many villains. It's just the fact that what they chose sometimes. Like I said, when you just pick a name out of a hat, and it would be better than some of the ones that they've used.
And by the way, here's Droga's shocker sketch. Pretty good, man.
Cool.
Pretty good, man. Yeah, so yeah, because again, the way they brought him in, because I mean, Vulture was the main villain, and they had a Mac Gargan, not as Scorpion, but they had him in Homecoming. So they were obviously kind of setting him up, and even with that, like the way that No Way Home is part of the symbiote left
all right.
behind.
I need you guys to stop getting high when you make these comments. William, you can debate your opinions, but stick with me and what I say. I told you those DC films would flop on. Wait a minute. Oh, were you not watching this show when I said the same thing? When I suggested that they not even be released? Were we on a different strain then, Fourth? Were you not a member, or were you not watching at that point? When people came after me when I said, why are we doing this? When you're basically, you're pulling the plug on the franchise, and none of these movies are going to fit into anything.
Well, that's why I was assuming. Well, that's why I was, under the impression, like, okay, if they're, they can't be telling us they're pulling the plug on the franchise and releasing it unless they're like, there's some kind of like 4D chess at work, particularly with Flash as the multiverse movie. It's like, okay, like if you're pulling the plug, but you're still releasing these, I mean, there's got to be something you're not telling us about why you're, and I mean, I suspect there may still be.
But that's a regime ago.
And it's kind of like, if you are doing that, it's like, I mean, give us some kind of indication that is to give these movies a fighting.
I mean, I was never on board with making Blue Beetle at all. Regardless of what people might have liked about it, I thought it was all right. But why are you doing
Actually, that was the weakest of the four DC movies from 2023. That was my least favorite of the four of
them. Yeah, I mean, you're not like coming up with a newsflash when we all, I mean, everybody, that I talked to, and like I said, very few people had high prospects for these movies. And very few people had prospects for these movies even before then, because all you had to go on was Birds of Prey and a couple other movies that didn't make money. So yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean, kind of talking to the choir there.
Mm-hmm. Clint says I got high.
You had high hopes for Flash and Black Adam. Black Adam, I was kind of right on. And high hopes for Flash.
Well,
both of those movies right there. See, and then we got the reshoot information once I found out about Flash. But like I said, the other ones. But even still, even after the Super Bowl commercial, go back and watch the Super Bowl commercial show we did on Sunday. And I said there was several things that could kill the Flash, and I stated them there. So if you can't do revisionist history if you're gonna come back here, dude, because all this stuff is on. It's on. You can watch it.
I
can tell you the exact date where I said what I said. So
I still maintain. I mean, it's still very much my perspective. Like the DC movies that were released in 2023, it's like you release them in a period where it's like you're not telling the world that this is we're cutting this off at the knees. It's like I think most of those, like, they would do significantly better than they did.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I was optimistic about the Flash after the trailer, but at the same time, that day that the trailer was released, and you can go back and watch that show, that it had the potential to go either way. And we discussed, I don't know if you were with me on that show, but we discussed more things that could sink the Flash. Yeah, we discussed things that could sink the Flash, more things that could sink the Flash than could help the Flash. But we gave an overall umbrella to all four of those movies that were being released. Once you pulled the plug on the universe, and then everybody was coming at me, you should just go see it because it's a good movie. And I'm like, and I said, I'll quote myself, that's bullshit. 25% of a movie success. 25% of a movie success is whether it's a good movie or not. And I gave off a list of movies that were really good that bombed. So yeah, rewatch. If you got to rewatch the shows, they're free. They're on the internet.
Again, you're hearing this from two guys who like the Flash movie. So
yeah.
And I liked Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom too. I enjoyed Shazam: Fury of the. But yeah, we're like ranking the four that came out in 2023. I ranked the Flash It was number one. Aquaman, Lost Kingdom, number two. Those I really liked. I thought they were both really good. I thought those are the ones I would say I quote unquote loved or I thought were great. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I thought I enjoyed. I thought it was pretty good. That would be like third for me. Blue Beetle was just kind of an afterthought, and it wasn't bad. I just thought it kind of came and went for me. It just wasn't anything special. There are people who said that was their favorite of the four that came out last year, and that's perfectly fine.
There's not enough people saw it. Like I said, everybody screamed and told me that Blue Beetle was this and that. We watched it on the streaming.
William kept it. It's now a verb for William, Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I mean, you can scream to high heavens on the fucking internet. Math will expose you. Math will expose us all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my perspective on the and again, that's it really the downfall of the four they had come out in 2023 was not anything intrinsic to the movies themselves. It wasn't a quality issue. It was just a matter of like they're being released in a fundamentally inhospitable environment to do business in because of the decisions made prior to them, up to and including saying we're ending the universe here.
Also, when it came to Black Adam, which I enjoyed, and it actually ended up.
I loved Black Adam.
If they would have controlled their budget, that wouldn't have been a bomb. But what did I say? I said while I was promoting Black Adam, while I was sending lots of people to Black Adam, while I was handing out free comics and posters and all kinds of stuff to Black Adam, what did I say? Go back to October of 2021, 2022, whatever it was. What did I say about Black Adam? The biggest problem that Black Adam had. It's Black Adam. So, and that was before they were pulling the plug on the universe, and that was before James Gunn was even announced as studio head.
Yeah.
So
we just talk so much of it. We can't focus on it because it just brings back a lot of bad memories. We're talking about that period of being a DC fan. We'll just go down the rabbit hole all night if we do, and it'll definitely bring us to a band topic.
All right,
Aaron
guys.
says, last thing that when it's gone on the Rotten Tomatoes curiosity what they gave Life After Fighting, and the audience score 75. No critics has barred to review it. I feel offended. I think it's gonna make the rounds of like publications and whatnot. And yeah, it's like it's so off the chain. I loved it. I loved it. And what's really cool about it is that basically the last 40 minutes of it reminds me of something. It's very reminiscent of something in the last 40 minutes.
Well, that's nice. All right, guys.
No, Life After Fighting is really awesome, Aaron. So yeah, it's on VOD now. So give it a look. And then, of course, it actually had a premiere, I think, actually in Sydney too, where Brian was there for that. So pull up on a VOD. It's like I'd love to hear your thoughts on it because I absolutely loved Life After Fighting.
All right, that's where we'll wrap it up. Right at 125. I will see you. I don't mention them either way. I think audiences. I think critic scores and audience scores both are equally worthless, and I said that to be fair. It's your money. If you want to rely on somebody else's opinion to spend your money, that is your gamble to make. But I don't, whether it's I've dismissed audience scores that are in favor of movies that I like. I don't care. I don't think that should be a part of your thought process whether you're going to see a movie or not. That's just me.
Well, the biggest one you've talked about is cinema scores.
Cinema scores fucking worthless.
Yeah. I don't know why we put so much stock in it. Because okay, Thor Ragnarok. Or not Thor Ragnarok, Thor Love and Thunder. Got a B+.
Yeah, and there's some movies that I thought I saw that I'm like, you gave, because any B score in cinema score is not good, and I'm like,
but it's way better than Thor Love and Thunder deserves.
Yeah, you gave some of the movies I looked. I'm like, I just look at it because somebody will post, and I'm like, I saw that movie. That movie was way better than that, and then they'll give some trash an A-, and I'm like, okay, I don't care about those scores. Like I said. They're not paying for me to see my movie. It's not their experience. See, you guys let these cinema scores and shit, and to a certain degree, the general public's opinion about anything rob you of your moment. You're going to have that moment for the rest of your life. But however you feel when you go in and walk out of that movie is yours and yours alone. If you want to go see something, go see it. Just stop using all these aggregates. They're literally just a waste of time. All right, that's it. That's where we're going to wrap the show up. I will be off tomorrow. We're going to take Monday off. Going to probably take Monday off unless something newsworthy explodes. But it doesn't sound like it will. And if it does, we'll talk. If not, we'll see you on Tuesday.
Remind me again too, just to clarify, with the Game of Thrones airing schedule and stream, like when does it start back up? The House of Dragon.
This Sunday at 6 o'clock.
A week from tonight, or a week from last night, I guess.
Yep, we are less than a week away from season 2 of House of the Dragon.
Okay, I just want to kind of clarify that, because I was trying to get Ashley to say, hey, you want to jump on and break some of this down, because she might be game for that.
Let her on, man. All right, guys. See y'all tomorrow night, or see y'all Tuesday.
Later, guys.